very close, bro. All right, welcome everybody to a brand new episode, and I'm very honored and happy to have my good friend Mr. Alex Younger by my side. Let me just shake your hand. So we're gonna talk about a lot of interesting stuff, but before we delve in, I would love for you to just introduce yourself and tell me, how did Alex Younger came about?
Yeah, a long time ago. In terms of the sport of CrossFit, I've been doing CrossFit for a good old while now. It's probably been about 10 years since I started. I started when I was about 16, so next year it'll be 10 years. I started back when CrossFit was way before what you see now in terms of the CrossFit Games and all that funky stuff that goes on. It's when I first started, it was more of like a garage gym feel that you were going through. Kind of 4 guys turned up at the gym. We wrote up on the whiteboard what we were going to do that day, and it was just completely random, and there was no structure or any kind of science behind it. It was all just what we felt like doing that day, whether that was tire flips or hitting the tire with a hammer, whatever it would be. It would just be random stuff we picked out of the hat.
And so from that you evolved into coaching groups?
My best friend owned the gym that I trained at. I was spending so much time in the gym that he said, look, if you're spending this much time at the gym, why don't you look to coach or get involved with coaching? And it was something I'd never really looked at as an avenue to create money, or I didn't think it would be a job, a career at that point in time. It was more of just doing it out of the love of being involved with being in the gym, being a gym rat. And that was it was a natural progression. I'd learned how to do most of the movements, and at that point in time, CrossFit hadn't developed its coaches the way that it has now. So it was more just kind of, if you could do the movements, you had more knowledge than most people. So you were thrown in at the deep end, and I was again about 17, 18 when I started doing that, and it's been a good old journey since.
Nice, that's awesome. And besides that, part-time your exercises, is that how you say it?
Yeah, so I always say full-time coach, part-time exercise. I mean that my first goal, my first idea when I wake up in the morning is always about my athletes, my coaching, my classes, whatever it would be for that day. That's always my main focus, and then my training takes a sidetrack on that, and that'll always be the case. CrossFit's given me, or training's given me, the life I've led now, so it's good to pay that forward and give that back first before looking to look after myself with the training that I do.
Awesome, great philosophy. So what we're going to talk about today is going to be about how to be successful in a group environment. So we know that there's differences between group training and individualized training, but we're going to be speaking more specifically about how to be successful in a group environment. How would you like to start this conversation?
I think that to start off with, there's 3 headings that we should be thinking about when we think about what's important about a group class, and that first one's the environment. When you turn up to a group class with 12 different people, you know those people, you've got a little community within each class, the feel of that class is always going to be completely different than when you're training by yourself, and that's built from let's say suffering with other people. Okay, you build those bonds and you get comfortable with those people, and it creates a good environment, which is, you can tell when the gym's busy and when the gym's quiet. There's always a different vibe within the gym, and that's the environment that's built through group classes, and I think that's super important to keep you motivated in what you're doing. The second step the second point is your accountability. So with those 12 people, although you're building an environment, you're also accountable to those people. If I see you rowing at 2,000 calories per hour on the rower, like yesterday in the first workout, I'm going to try to do the same. I'm going to try to do better, and that accountability is going to keep you involved in what you're doing, and keep you accountable to your movement, your actions. You've got a coach there that's going to keep your movement patterns safe and keep you accountable to what we're looking for with your movement patterns. And then from there, I think the last important, or the biggest important part, but the last point is the structure of which your group class gives you. It gives you structure to your programming, it gives you structure to your training. Obviously, when I first started 9-10 years ago, there was absolutely no structure. So I think what CrossFit and what training has evolved into is now a lot more structured in terms of what you're getting out of your group classes.
Absolutely true. So before we delve into potential principles that your program should abide to if you're following a group program, I want to speak just briefly about that group environment atmosphere. So to recap, what you thought is important is that community vibe.
Yeah, so your environment, your community feel within your classes, your accountability in terms of your movement. So if you're moving well or you're not moving well, if you're training by yourself, you don't really have eyes on you to see if you're moving better or your movement's progressing. And then the last one is the structure in which your class is given to you. So if you look at the way we do things for the most part here, we always have a specific structured warm-up, we have a specific structured strength day, a specific structured monostructural day where you're getting your cardio in. So it's all structured to what your needs are as an individual.
Absolutely true. Awesome. Now let's delve into certain general principles that a group program should abide by.
Yeah, so we could get super technical with this, but I think for the most part we want to try to make it so people understand what's going on. I think the first point is obviously with that first point of structure, it needs to be specific to your goals. And meaning that specific to what you're looking for out of your training program, what you're looking for out of your health and fitness, your training program needs to be specific to what you're doing.
Absolutely.
From there, it needs to build in a progressive manner, meaning that it needs to get harder from point A to point B. So it's building in a progressive manner. If we start too hard, we're only going to go downhill, and we never want to be regressing. We always want to be progressing and getting better throughout the time we're training.
Nice.
The last point would be we want to be training frequent enough or hitting the right responses, the right dose response frequent enough to get better. Meaning that if I back squatted on a Monday in 1 week and I didn't back squat for 4 weeks, I'm not going to get stronger in the back squat. So if you look at what we give out here within our group program, we go through specific training cycles or specific training phases, which then has specific goals, which Mr. Ed Haynes provides for us. Specific goals for us to get better at, and that's what the desired responses are. So if you look through your training week, the days tend to stay the same so that you're hitting the right responses throughout the week. You're back squatting on a Monday, cleaning on a Tuesday, doing handstand push-ups on a Wednesday, whatever it would be. But the more structure you're adding into that, and the more frequent it's coming around, the better you're going to get to move forward with that.
Absolutely true. Do you want to shed some light on how we do things here at CrossFit Training?
I think that would be a good part to move into.
Good.
So our group classes that we run, we have our fitness program, our performance program, and our competitors program. But what that does is straight away, what that's done is it's made it specific to your goals. Obviously, each group has a different set of goals, and we try to keep people in the right groups dependent on their goals. Obviously, if you're in fitness, it's to have an all-round degree of fitness, to be prepared for most things, and to be fit and healthy. If you're in performance, you're looking to peak or be involved within the CrossFit Open, which means your spectrum of movements that you have to select is a little bit wider because there's more movements come out within the Open. And then obviously our competitors, we're looking to compete within the sport of CrossFit. So we're looking for higher intensity, more local competitions. We're looking to, the movement basically selection gets wider as we go through the tracks. And then straight away what that's done is it's made it specific to your goals. So if you're in fitness, your program is specific to what you're doing. If you're in performance, again, it's specific to what you're doing, and so on and so forth. So what we're looking for there is, or what we're seeing there, is just that each program is specific to the individual's needs when they turn up to class.
True. It also abides by that second principle you were talking about.
So our progressive manner, or that overload theory that we're going through, is that going from, let's say we have a 6-week training block on week 1, it's going to be a lot easier than what it was on week 6. So what we're looking for is for you to progress throughout those 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, whatever the training block would be. And by the end of the 8 weeks, we've seen a big increase from whatever it is we're working on.
Awesome. And then that third principle of frequency you spoke about. Prior.
So again, just making sure that you're hitting the stimulus frequent enough so that you're getting better at it. So if you're in performance, at the minute you're working handstand performance and competitors, you're working handstand push-ups every Wednesday. That's a running theme that you're going to be going through. So if you didn't do that and you did handstand push-ups on a Wednesday, didn't work them for 2 weeks, you're not going to progress in the way that we want you to. So we want it to be frequent enough so that we're driving adaptation to get better.
Awesome. Love the way you said that. So I think in general, we spoke a lot about how a good group program would look like, which principles it should abide by. I want to ask you another question that could be relevant for people out there that might consider or they want to do individualized training or group training. What would help them make that decision?
I think it depends on what type of individual you are.
Yeah.
If you thrive in a group environment, you thrive and you're motivated by other people, as in external factors, loud music, people, whatever it would be, groups, whatever it would be, that the group class or group training is going to be a lot better for you. You're going to get the best results through that. But if you're individually driven, as in you have set goals, you know exactly what you want from your training, you know exactly how to get it, then individual training is going to be the best for you in terms of what's going to give you the best from your program. I think the best thing to do is look at two individuals that we train with or that I train with. I'm very good in a group environment. I thrive within a group environment. And Haynes is very different, and he's very happy training by himself, whereas I almost need other people to do better and push harder.
Which is
and
awesome.
that's a flaw within my own training, but it's something I've always been involved with group training. So it's like my crutch that I love and that I enjoy being around. Whereas Ant's a lot better training by himself.
Yeah, I think that's amazing because both ends of the spectrum have produced great athletes, and it's about finding out which type of person you are and in which environment you thrive in, just like you said.
Finding your little niche that you feel comfortable in and that you feel like you get your best results from.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Mr.
Thank you for having me on.
I'm going to give you a
Been a
handshake as
pleasure.
well. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, let's get on it.
Good. That didn't go too bad actually.
Ah.
Now, once
Bro.